hobbies. I love playing all sports. So I play like intramural softball and soccer and volleyball. And my family likes to go and play frisbee golf. My kids play sports. And I grew up riding horses and camping and swimming, and I like going on trips with my family.
Where's your favorite place you've been so far?
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Wow. And so I've been interested in the surgical tech program since my mother-in-law told me about the program in, I think, around 2007. But I was busy being a mom and having kids, and so I wanted to wait to go back to school until my kids were in school. And so this year, my daughter's in preschool and all my kids are in school. So the last year I was able to finish up the prereqs and apply, and I got in, and I'm super excited about that. I know it's going to be challenging, but I think it's something that I'm really going to like to do, and I'm looking forward to learning a lot this year. And in the future, I'm not sure where I'll be living because my husband declined medical school, so we'll be wherever he goes, and I hope to get a job at a hospital, wherever that is.
Yep. All right, so now you guys know Megan, a little bit more about Megan. Katrina sent me hers. Let's see. I'll go back to yours, Katrina.
Mine's just a PowerPoint. I couldn't.
Oh, yours
do
is?
anything. Yeah. Okay. Mine's from Google Chrome. So hi, my name is Shayna Cox. Can scroll down. I am a Marine, and I was stationed in Beaufort, South Carolina for 4 years, and that was my passion until I found a new passion. I am a mother of a 5-year-old kindergartner who goes to Ladera, and she's awesome, amazing, and she just keeps me on my toes. So, and her name is Sierra.
And which one is she in here? This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a lot of hobbies. I like to do everything, running, reading books, listening to music. I'm actually learning or teaching my daughter how to play golf because we go golfing a lot, and there's just so much I like to do outside stuff.
Good.
I have a lot of interests as well. I love sports, and my other passion is coffee.
You and Dell have a lot in common there.
Coffee.
Go Raiders.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
It is
not
our
that
year.
common.
And I have decided to pursue my career path in surgical technology because of everything it entails, from learning the surgical scrub procedure to numerous cases. It also honors the same traits I had instilled in me thanks to the Marine Corps. And there's the 14 leadership traits right there so far. And also, you can change it, it's filled with excitement and hands-on learning.
Oh, that's cute.
And what I envision when I graduate from this program is to be able to properly and efficiently anticipate the surgeon's next move, so I would know what that would mean. And the next slide would be to live where I want to live, which is Scottsdale, Arizona, somewhere in the nice heat.
Ah, nice. Shayna.
Yes.
Shayna, okay. Because when I saw it, I was thinking Shania.
That's
You probably get that a lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Are you from here, Shane?
I am. Yes.
Sounds like you've had experienced a lot in life already. And then Kayla, so we're going to have to kind of see if we can figure hers out. Kayla is an online student. And this must be her family. So I'm taking it, this one's Kayla. I've seen her once on a video, but yeah. We're going to figure this one's not her. She's going to really appreciate that, I'm sure. So it looks like some of her interests are hunting and volleyball and visiting different places. Why she's chosen surgical technology, to be a part of medical field, to work anywhere, to be a part of a team. She likes blood and guts, which is good. Always active, not sitting at a desk. See lots of different surgeries. And a start of maybe to grow maybe into something else. She already knows the date that she's going to be finishing, July 27th of 2018. She wants to be a part of a good team hospital, to do her very best, and to improve her skills every day, and find ways to keep a calm surgery room. Good luck with that one. Now, really, for the most part, being in the operating room is pretty calm. Most of the surgeons play music, they ask trivia. I mean, so you guys...
It's just like work anywhere else, right?
It is. It is. And I know a lot of the surgeons like to ask music trivia, and usually the older stuff. So you guys be prepared for that, because they'll ask you. They'll be like, oh, okay, good. You got to know this. This is really important.
Do you know where she lives?
Kayla, all the online students are in Alamogordo. So as far as I know, they live in Alamogordo. It seemed like one might be Cloudcroft, which is not very far from there. Have you guys been to that part of New Mexico?
Yeah.
So they have a community college there?
It's actually New Mexico State. It's a branch, yeah. So they have that little one in Alamogordo, and then of course they have the big one in Las Cruces. This is Danielle.
Hi. Danielle. I'm 23 years old. I have 2 kids, a little boy who's 2 named Carter, and my daughter's 7 and named Alana. I was born in Colorado but grew up in Albuquerque, and now I'm here. I have a boyfriend who's becoming a Rio Rancho police officer, and I'm a server at St. Clair Winery and Bistro, so whenever I'm done with the program, I move down there with him.
Nice.
And then, hobbies. I love being outdoors. In the middle is like a picture of the 4-wheeling park that we go to out there in Albuquerque. And there's a picture of my family's ranch because I love horseback riding and everything. And then my daughter's room that I painted when she was little.
That's cool.
I love spending time with my family.
And this, you said, is your family's ranch?
Yeah, it's in Telluride,
In
Colorado.
Telluride. Oh, nice. Wow. And you enjoy painting.
Yes. Painting like walls, like,
Walls?
yeah.
Well,
like
I'll invite you over
not
when
little pictures, right?
Yeah, that's a tough job.
I decided, when I think I was like 15, I got to help out with the emergency C-section on a cow at
Oh,
the
wow.
ranch, like the vet came out there. And ever since then, like I knew I wanted to be in the medical field. When I got pregnant shortly after my daughter, I was like, okay, I'll work with humans. I'll be a lot better. So, and blood and guts also don't scare me, and I could support me and my kids doing this, and it's fun. And then when I graduate, I'm going to move to Albuquerque, and I want to find a job at Crest Train downtown, but forever would be cool. And then if I do this for a while, I want to further myself. I thought about becoming an RN, or maybe going further in the surgical tech part.
Good. Most of the people in here so far like outdoors a lot. That's good. It's good to live in this area and like outside. All right. Colleen.
Hi. Oh,
There
I
she
know
is.
that'll play. That's a video.
Oh, this is?
Yeah.
It's not showing the thing there.
Okay.
We can try, but it's so far it hasn't worked.
That's okay. It wasn't that good of a video. So I'm Colleen. I'm married. Been married for 2 years to my husband Jacob. We've been together for 6. He's actually going to Fort Lewis now, and I'm here, so we're hoping to move to Toledo after hopefully get a job somewhere up there. Why I chose surgical tech? I thought it would be fun and you'd never get bored. You'd always have something to do, and it seems challenging. So, when I graduate, I hope to enjoy life, get a good job. And, well, those are our two little fur babies. We don't have kids, but we have fur. And it's Diamond and Isabel.
Nice.
Is that what Diamond? Diamond is my husband's holding that one. I'm holding Isabel. Oh, okay.
And what's your husband going into at Fort Lewis?
He wants to do psychology,
Oh.
but he really wants to go be a neuroscience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
Crystal is another one that's in Alamogordo. And we kind of saw her at the end of Zoom.
Are they not able to talk?
Are they not logged on?
I asked them if they wanted to today, and Jennifer, the one that talks a lot, Jennifer will hear that when she listens to this. But anyway, she said that she wasn't available, and then Kayla works, so she's not. And I didn't hear anything from Crystal, so she must not have been available. So I record the Zoom, and you guys seen where I put those in modules, Zoom. So I'll send this to them, so that way they can look at you guys too and get an idea of who their classmates are over here. Looks like Crystal has 2 boys, it looks like. She says she wants to do something that is more than just a job, but a career. I've worked many different jobs, and it's always the same daily routine. I want to be happy to go to work and ready for the new day and experiences that will come about. And that's one thing about being a surgical tech. Surgical tech was one of the only jobs that I've ever had, and I had quite a few jobs that I looked forward to going to work. I couldn't wait because it was so much fun. You know, I wonder what cases I get to do today. I really like the people that I worked with too. So when she graduates, she wants to have a career, job security, understanding of what it's going to take to be a surgical tech. You guys will find that out during this program. Enjoying your job is very important. If you love your job, to me, it's not even work. Making her family proud of her accomplishments and money. It's always nice to earn a check. Hobbies, traveling, her pets, new experiences with the family, football mom, and reading. I'm not sure where this is, but it might be there around Alamogordo or Las Cruces. I know they've got mountains like that in Las Cruces, so that might be where that is. Daniel. Daniel likes to talk, as you guys can tell. Right, Daniel?
That was our engagement picture. And actually, I got interested in surgical tech. I've been interested in, I'm sorry, that one. I was up at 11 o'clock trying to do this because of everything else I don't know.
That's okay.
But I've always been interested in medical field since I was young. Just because of, you know, all the surgeries I've been through. Spent most of my early life in the hospital. But blood and guts never bothered me. So I've always been interested. My wife actually is a registered nurse up at the hospital. She works on surgical floor.
Oh.
So when I get done whatever, I'll take him to her and she can deal with it. She can go from there.
Yeah.
So my final goal is to, you know, continue my education and eventually become a surgical assistant just because I like the hands-on, getting in there and actually doing things. thought it would sound fun. I did get sidetracked, worked in corrections for a few years, showed me one side of humanity. So now I'm wanting to, experience something else. I am a team player, like to work hard. I'm both a leader and a follower. Lead when I need to, follow when I need to, when it's appropriate. Enjoy physical activity. Have my father's sense of humor, which it could be a bad thing in this class, depending.
What kind of sense of humor does your father have?
Yeah, he was in the hospital for a broken leg, and the nurse came in to collect his urine specimen for the day, but he had taken his specimen cup and put his apple juice in there. And when he handed her the cup, she says, "Boy, that's really dark. That's not a good sign." He says, "Well, maybe I better recycle this." Opens it up, drinks it on down. She left his room and never came back. He never saw her again, didn't know if she quit or what.
Oh, no.
I'm like, way to go, Dad. So, and then I always enjoy, my wife and I always enjoy roller coasters. We love going to theme parks. And so anytime we can, we go to a theme park. And then outside of class, I have all kinds of. She was so serious in that picture. I was like, really? You got to be kidding me. So, but we're both involved in the arts. Love to practice. I teach classes and stuff. And then next slide, I think, shows my two boys there. That was right after their first testing, got their yellow belts. And so I still teach classes. And then I do all kinds of self-defense classes. And then another thing I enjoy really, motorcycle riding. I like to take long bike trips. Just go anywhere and everywhere. It's an adventure bike, so it does pretty much anything. And then my family and I have collected a whole bunch of RC cars, and we enjoy going out and jumping RC cars. And kids like to see me try and jump over the dogs when they stand still. So
Nice. Now you guys know who we need to. If anybody ever tries to come in here and cause problems, we'll be Danny.
Do you teach Taekwondo or Hippo or what is it?
Taekwondo.
Yeah, you've been doing that for quite a while, haven't you?
I taught up here for 18 years.
Wow.
I taught up here for 18 years. So
Nice. Christian.
So that's me, obviously. I am 22 years old. I live in Aztec with my husband, Chad, our two dogs. Big one is Ranger, small one is Dash. We also have a pet duck that we rescued from the ditch near our home. So yeah, I'll talk about him a lot too.
Michael, huh?
Yeah, well, we thought it was a boy, but then it started like A, so it's a girl. But we never changed the name, so we just call it Mikey. So I love Grey's Anatomy, and that's really what got me into looking into like the surgical tech program. But then, Dale yesterday was like, well, it's going to be nothing like Grey's Anatomy. And then I also have a friend on Facebook, and he did the program. And he always posted stuff, like pictures, and it always looked really interesting to me. So that's also another reason why I looked into it, because I was actually going to do nursing. And I thought about it more and more, and I don't think nursing really fit me. I think I would rather be in an OR. But yeah, no, I just hope to be, a good surgical tech after the program, and that's just my main focus right now, is getting through the program. And I didn't put any hobbies or anything in there. I forgot. I don't really do much because my husband's such a homebody. So, I go shopping a lot, so you'll probably see me at Target and Dillard's a lot, because that's where I spend most of my time.
Oh, Jennifer's. Let's see. There we go. Here's hers. I don't know if hers will work either.
Could you just hit that button that says start slideshow?
Oh, maybe on hers it'll work. Oh, it might.
This is one of our fellow online classmates.
Yeah, this is the last one, Jennifer, the one that's a little talkative.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so there she is. She says, "The girls are my world. The oldest is Samara,
Right, Samara.
Samara,
Yeah.
and then Caroline. And then she got her kitty cats, Nugget, the light, long-haired, and Pickles, the gray guy. The old lady. Ethel. What a name.
That's a photogenic.
Yeah. Says she stays with her parents at the moment, but she and the old guy will come with us once we live in a big enough place. She has been with us since 2008 when we adopted her in Georgia. The old guy, there he is. Duck. He's the head honcho that does whatever Ethel wants him to. That's usually how it is. He's been a part of their family since 2007. They adopted him when they lived in Georgia. Oh, so he had that name already. He enjoys going wherever they go. She loves all her fur babies. And I understand that. Her motto is, "I strongly feel this because between the struggles that life has thrown at me and my finally figuring out who I am meant to be, I can say my happiness will be full once I walk across the stage officially as surgical technologist." Yep, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, "I'm possible." Good. Oh, here we go. Makila?
Yep, that's me. It played for me online. I think it was me messing around with the mixing.
Well, it's the reason that it's not playing for us is because it's trying to download and it's taking forever. See, it's still stuck. Usually it does. They do play. I don't know if something's just going on. I don't know. Usually they work.
All right. So, yep, my name is Mikila Duriski. I would have to say, yeah, it started in high school. I took Human Anatomy Physiology 1 and 2. I did really well. The whole dissection didn't squeeze me out. Most of the time, my lab partners were guys, and they left it to me until I'm like, hey, don't you guys go hunting? And then they were all hands-on when you bring it into that perspective. Of course, after school, you have to go get a paycheck and such. So I've been in retail. I've been retail for a long time, selling spas, billiards, then moved on to Best Buy with cell phones and such. So I got that whole team player, working with people, being able to communicate effectively, and I really enjoy the customer service. Usually if someone says, "Oh, go to cell phones," I usually know who it is, the girl with the flower in the hair, if they don't know who I am. And so I stand out a little bit with the flower in the hair and then usually my personality as well. So I get along with all my coworkers. I've always gotten along with others. And so I feel the surgical tech, well, the reason was for me is I enjoy helping people. But with retail, you get more of the ugly side without feeling the rewarding part of it. And I figured that maybe I might like behind the scenes helping. I've always liked the blood and guts and gore and such. And I still want to help people. I still want to help it, but I feel if I don't do the retail of having to sell them things, that I can still help them and give them a better quality of life. especially since like my grandparents are older and I think about them being part of the baby boomer generation. My grandmother was a nurse for a while before her health got in the way, but she enjoyed it. She said she always enjoyed it, but hers was more, she enjoyed delivering babies. She was a nurse. And so I feel like I would enjoy this because I like helping people. I'm a really good team player. And one of my favorite things is painting. I'm not very good at it, like with the whole realistic, that's my little brother. But I like painting abstract. I painted on boxes, sometimes if I have the time, maybe furniture, or just canvas on there. It's like one of my boxes I did there. I do all the sides on there. People like looking at it and they see different things in there. This county fair though, I actually entered stuff in there. I got a white ribbon on my wall hanging things there, and on my boxes I actually got a blue ribbon. It was pretty sweet on that. And so when I have the time, it's time consuming. I like to read too. I had to put that on there. Mainly fiction. I don't have any kids, but I do have cats. Gremlin and Spooky Boo. There's one of their peaceful moments when they're not chasing each other or getting a little brawl. But yeah, those are my cats.
Are they kittens or?
Oh no, they're not
They're
kittens.
adults?
The other one, the one on the left, the black and white, is Gremlin. He's about 4, and the other one's Spooky Boo. It was Goblin, but it was too much of a mouthful. He's just cute, so it's Spooky Boo because he likes to wake me up in the morning when my alarm goes off. And he cries and he wants his wet food. But with him, he is 8 months old now. They're both fixed. I believe that's one of the things that is good for their health and such.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Nice.
It was much easier talking than on the microphone there because it's like, oh, I messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicole.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole. I'm originally from Sweetwater, Arizona. If you guys don't know where that is, that's like west from Strawberry Drive. It's like the deepest.
So you go to Shiprock and then you continue all the way
Yeah.
through Shiprock and then you head out, right?
Yeah, so past East and then you eventually hit Edwards and
Oh, okay.
turn there. And I recently graduated this past May with my level.
From here?
Yeah. And what got me interested in surgical tech is because of my dad. They told him that he had diverticulosis, and soon after that he got diverticulitis. And oh man, it was just a long process. And so I started asking questions, and then soon it just led me to here, and I was like, you know what, I think I could do it. And at the same time, I was taking human anatomy too, and there was a lot of dissections, and so I was like, I really think I should take a look into it and see what I can find. And my hobbies, I like to hike, I like to travel, I like to see new places. I like kayaking, I like paddleboarding.
Where was this one here with the palm trees?
Oh, that's Clemente or something like that, California.
Oh, California.
Yeah. What's more what I like to do outdoors, I like horseback riding, camping, tubing.
And you have kids?
No,
No?
no. I do have pets though. The cat is Judas. The guinea pig is Asher. I like sheep, and I also like to eat sheep.
So do you eat your pets?
No.
No, okay. Like the sheep pets?
Not like the sheep pets. Like the meat off of the sheep.
No, I mean, do you have your sheep that are your
Oh
pets
yeah,
and then
we have, yeah.
and then you pretty soon you're like,
Pretty
oh,
soon
you
after
look
they're
tasty.
Like, yeah, after they're good enough, I'm like, I'm gonna eat now.
I put audio over my PowerPoint, but you think it's gonna work?
I don't think so.
Press that speak right there, right under my name.
Towards the
Let's
center of the PowerPoint.
Yeah, on the slide.
where?
Underneath
Right in
my
the center.
name.
Oh.
Audio.
Oh, right here.
Yeah, see if it works. I don't hear it.
No, if it
All
would.
right. Well, my name is Paul Ronald Valdez, but everyone that knows me calls me Ron.
Ron.
So yeah, everyone in class is calling me Ron. I'm a
Good to
third year
know.
local to Farmington. I grew up here, born and raised. I graduated from PV in 2005. Right after PV, I took the IPOP program here at the School of Energy. And I made the School of Energy Student of the Year for 2008. That's out of all their programs. So that was a pretty good accomplishment when I was younger. I've been working pretty much in all the energy industry in this area. I worked for Aztec Oil for a number of years as a motorman, tripping pipe. And then I made it to the San Juan Generating Station. And I worked as an operator and a mechanic out there for 3 to 4 years. And after that, I went to the underground mine, the San Juan mine here, and I was a longbow mechanic. Until last July, I got laid off, same with a lot of people. So, you know, instead of finding another job doing the same old stuff, I wanted to find a career that's kind of just better, you know, and more stable. And I've had a couple surgeries on my shoulder and knee and stuff, and I got to watch a video of them doing my shoulder. And it was pretty amazing, pretty hardcore what they do, you know. And that kind of just sparked an interest in the surgical field. Some of my hobbies, I really enjoy fishing, hunting, mountain biking, camping, hiking. I ride a lot of mountain bike, and we got some pretty good local trails, so I put a lot of miles on the mountain bike. I'm also a motorcycle enthusiast. That's my bike. I built that thing. It took me 9 months to assemble it and paint it. Did a lot of motor work, transmission work. That was bad. Here's some pictures of my family. Got my mom and dad, my grandpa that I'm named after, my niece and nephew. I don't have any kids, but that's my immediate family right there. And then, like I said, I'm just looking for a solid career. I want to be part of a team that helps people, you know, people that are in need and in pain. And I got to get attention to detail, and I'm kind of OCD, so I think the surgical field would be a good fit for me.
Yeah.
I also like really fast-paced work environments, so I think this will work.
Yeah, you're probably good for orthopedics because they like to do things fast. Yeah, and you probably enjoy it.
I didn't email mine yours. I got done with it before class, so I have it on my Outlook on my personal.
You want to come up here and
Where's my one? All right, so all about me. My name is Rachel Warren. I am 30 years old, born in July. I am a mother to 3 beautiful babies. I have a wonderful spouse named Darwin Big A. I currently live near Tees-Nez, Arizona. It's kind of between a little past Tees, going west. I am currently a CNA for 3 years now. I work part-time in 2 different facilities here in town. So it's been good. These are my children. My oldest in the black shirt, her name is Chantel. Chantel Begay, she is 9 years old. My daughter is the second middle child. Her name is Dakota. She's 8. And then I have my son, Ileano. He's 2. So those are my kids. And then my hobbies and interests is photography. I like to play volleyball. My family and I, we try to do weekend volleyball games. I like to travel. I am a Denver Broncos fan, and just having family time. This is my spouse right here. He travels for work, so that's my interest in traveling. He's gone most of the time, so we travel a lot to go see him. And then just those extra photos are some of the photography I do. I don't really go out and do photography. I do things for home that I want to hang up at home. I do a lot of my family, my kids, of course. So I don't have to go to a professional photographer and get them done. I do them myself, and I do photos for my brothers and sisters. So that's that.
Good.
It's a lot cheaper. It is. I don't have to spend hundreds of dollars doing it. So why I chose surgical technology. I think it's an interesting job. Being able to know that you had a part in saving someone, gaining more knowledge and knowing what it's like inside the human body, not just the outside. Showing my kids that they are able to do anything and become anyone. Just being a role model for them. Experiencing new ways of looking at the human body. And understanding it, because we get a lot of patients who come in through rehab, and we have to, help them get back on their feet and go home with the job I do. So I think it'd be pretty cool to actually see what they go through in the surgery. So when I graduate from this program, I plan on applying in different areas. I do want to move after this program and work in a bigger city where I get the opportunity to do more surgeries and get more knowledge and gain more experience before I come back and try to apply locally. And then I do plan on going back to school. I graduated last year in May as well with my associates in liberal arts. I want to get into a bachelor's program and do social work. And my main focus is like nursing homes and schools. So that's what I want to do. And I think that being able to know what these, like our elderly patients go through during surgery gives me more understanding of, how they're feeling, being at the rehab center and then at the nursing home. So I think all of this ties in together with what I want to do with my future. Yeah. So that's me. Okay. Do you want me to email that PowerPoint to you?
No, it's okay. It's all right. Let's see.
First,
want to say I'm really disappointed that the audio doesn't work.
I know. Well, let me see, because you emailed me yours, didn't you?
I'm
Thank
thinking,
you.
and the re-recording, oh my
We're trying to get to sync with your slides. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I'm not new to this, doing it by myself, do the presentations that I've done before. You know, it's like a team effort type thing, so. It's really sad, because I thought I even said it in my videos, like, at the end of it.
I'm not sad because my voice is really scratchy.
Yeah.
I
Well, I was
I was
recording through my
tired.
headphones, so mine's like, but,
Will it go smoother in the future for our, when we get to?
These, yeah, I mean, because the students, they did them for class last year and,
can you
and
go
they
to
went fine.
slideshow?
We'll see if hers will work. Look at how pretty that was.
No, not on. Okay, well. I'm gonna
Yeah, it's
take-
working.
That's the audio, you just gotta turn it up.
Oh, yeah, hey, look at that. That's my first time doing a presentation.
Oh, yeah.
So, bear with me. I am a single mother, I'm also a 5-year-old boy. I'm Miss Malachi. Just started kindergarten. Super smart, funny, and a little sidekick. Hilarious. Been super honoring. But all around, it's really good kid. Start with her. Pretty much why I'm in part time, I'm really trying to choose the degree. I adore her. My son and her are best buds. Beautiful first great grandson. Her class was pretty good. She didn't even know play around until I told her. The first decided that I wanted to be in medical field when I was 18 years old. I've taken some courses and got my BLS certification. After I had finished that, I decided that it wasn't what I wanted to do, and was offered a job at Fresenius Medical Care, the dialysis center, and absolutely fell in love with the work. I wanted to get into the nursing program and get my RN and return that back to the dialysis. But after I had taken some different courses, I decided that the nursing was not what I wanted to do. I with all of you guys, great, right? So I'm trying to get this done. I've been in school since 2012, and it's ready. So that's it. Yes, thanks for listening. This didn't turn out too bad. So, thanks for listening. Don't judge me smiling.
Uh-huh.
And good luck to you guys.
Good job. I'm sure all of them were wonderful. Just
And then when you're recording, it allows you to draw. Girl, I just learned all this, like, I'm self-taught.
yeah, there's a lot of really cool things that it can
The
do.
transitions, I just did that right before I started.
Yeah.
I was like, shh.
Yep, transitions are nice.
Yeah.
So Katrina, she's one of the noisy ones in the class. I got to give the ones that are quiet a hard time.
I think I'm the only one that didn't do pictures. I did mine the last.
Oh my goodness.
My name's
Hi,
Olivia.
this is all about me.
This is all.
and-
Because these two emailed them to me. That's why they're working.
I just did it on my first one, so it should have figured it out. I am from originally from Newcomb, which is about an hour from here. And back in 2005, I moved to Farmington, so it's been about 12 years since I lived there. Moved when my son was about 5 months. And I have 3 kids, 1 boy, 2 girls, Keandre, Kiana, and Kiera, ages 13, 10, and 8. I have 4 sisters. My 3 older sisters all live in Phoenix, and then my younger sister and I, we both live here in Farmington. My hobbies, I didn't put my interest in them. Hobbies are photography. Just recently started getting into it. I thought it was something cool. I've always wanted to do that, but it's just recently I just really got into it. And then hiking and traveling. I have a lot of pictures from like California and other places I can put on there. And then my interest is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of people always ask me if I'm from Tampa Bay, but I just love them. And a lot of people like, who's the Buccaneer? And I'm like, really? So I chose the surgical tech. I think I'd make a whole difference in people's lives. Saving. I mean, I've always been interested in the health field. That's right after high school. So I've done the phlebotomy, and then I recently got my certificate for the first responder class. And I just like a challenge. I mean, with that, I know that every day is going to be different, and there's a job mostly everywhere. And after graduation, hopefully to work here somewhere, hopefully for 3 years, gain experience. But right now I'm just not really sure where I want to move in, but if it doesn't happen, my kids love it.
Good. And you said you're from Newcomb, but you live here, right? That's where you grew up, was in Newcomb?
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it. I think we're back to Megan. Megan, you want to tell us about yourself? No, I'm just kidding. Now you guys are going to get a test on what everybody's interest is and who's who.
That's not it. Outdoors.
Yeah, hiking outdoors, photography. Yep. So I decided kind of later in life, I did several different things. First, I was a mother. I got married when I was pretty young and moved around a little bit. My ex-husband was in the military, so we lived in Kentucky for a while at Fort Knox, and then we moved overseas to Germany, and we lived there for a while. My 2 kids, my baby is 32, and my daughter's 35. She just turned 35. And I remarried, and between me and my husband, we have 9 grandkids. 6 of them are girls. So yeah, we have a lot of fun. Most of them don't live here. 6 of them live in Oklahoma. So we usually go and visit them once a year, and they come and visit us. So we have a lot of fun. We have animals. We've got 2 Great Pyrenees dogs. And we have, we had 2 cats, but one of my cats disappeared. So now we have 1 cat, and I'll probably get another one. And we have chickens. Yeah, and who knows what else we'll get. I never know. Yeah, I live in Aztec. I grew up in Aztec. My family lives there. My mom still lives there. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. and I'm the youngest, and I'm the only one to go to college and get a degree in my family. So I'm the first. I wasn't really raised that education was important. When I was raised, it was as soon as you're old enough, you get married, and that's what you do. And somebody will take care of you. But I learned pretty quick that no, I needed to be able to take care of myself. So while I was getting a divorce from my husband, who I was married to for 20 years, I decided that it was time for me to go to school. And I've always been interested in the medical field. I worked in a neurosurgeon's office, and he was a crazy neurosurgeon. Yeah, but he asked any of the ladies who worked in the office if any of us were interested in going to a surgery with him, and I said, I am. So I did. I went and spent a long day in the operating room with him while he was doing brain surgery, and I thought, this is what I want to do. And so soon after that, I got all my prereqs here at San Juan College, and the only program that was available was in Albuquerque yet. It was TVI then, now it's CNM. And so I traveled back and forth and went to school in Albuquerque and still lived here. And I worked here for psychiatrists, psychologists while I was going to school. And then I also got a job at the hospital in the operating room as, I would go, I can't remember what they're called, like a patient care assistant or something. And they actually go and get the patients from the rooms and bring them to the operating room. You help with the room turnover. So it was really nice because while I was going to school, I actually got to see surgery. I was like, yes, I love this. And I couldn't wait to see surgeries. Every opportunity I was in the room watching. So it's been fun. I really enjoyed it. It's hard. And I don't know that there's anything can really quite get you ready for it. You just do it. You know, when you guys start clinical, you just start doing it. And you realize, you know, what's hard about it. It's hard to stand on your feet for however many hours in a day. It's hard to remember everything about this surgeon because he or she believe they're the only ones. And they want you to remember everything about what they want. So it's a tough field, but it's very rewarding. Like I told you, I loved going to work. I really did. I looked forward to it. I couldn't wait. So after working at San Juan Regional, I went and worked at the surgery center here in Farmington and worked with some awesome people. But there was an opening here at the college for an instructor, and I thought, I think I'm ready for a change. So I applied and I got the instructor position, and then a few months later, 3 or 4 months, the director of the program, she resigned. So I applied for the director position and got that and had no idea what I was in for. So I've been here now for going on 7 years. Yeah, and I really enjoy this. It's very rewarding. When I go to the facilities in this area, almost all the surgical techs that are working have been students. So it's nice. So all the people that would precept you guys are students from here. I would say 95% of them are from here, so it's nice. And then, just trying to build the online, because I do want to encourage people from other areas of not only just this state, but hopefully at some point the whole United States to do this online and to make it possible. The physical therapy assistant program has an online program, and their students come from all over. They come from Alaska, Hawaii, and they travel. The people who run that program travel to all those different places to check on their students. I figure if they can do it, we can do it too. So, and I enjoy traveling, hiking. I used to really like running, but now that I'm getting older, I realize my knees don't like it so much. Working out, I like to work out. I'm a real early morning person. I told you guys that. And you get used to that as a surgical tech because usually you got to be at work at 6:30 in the morning. When I worked 12-hour shifts. So I worked 3 12s and had 4 days off, which was really nice. I also took a little part-time job in Cortez at a little outpatient surgery center that they had there, and they mainly do scopes, so colonoscopies and EGDs and things like that. So I did that for a while too, because I had 4 days off. So I thought I might as well do something else, so I did that. So yeah, I've done a lot of different things. I've been a bus driver, a waitress, secretary, medical billing, all kinds of stuff. But I always knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't do it. It took me a while to get there. Yeah, but it's never too late. It's never too late. And you guys will see working in the operating room that there's so much that you can do. And not only as a surgical tech, but everything else, you can't even imagine, just the things that are out there. So, hopefully you'll plan on doing this for a while, maybe forever. There are quite a few people that I've worked with who've been surgical techs for 30 years, 40 years, a long time, and they love it. So, and that's what they do. All right. I'll get a video for you guys so I can show you some pictures, some places that I've been, because I've been a lot of places. A goal is to go to every state in the whole United States, and then I can go to other countries. But there's so much to see in the U.S. that I want to see everything there is to see here first, and then go. Because yeah, there's a huge world out there. Yeah.
How many states have you gone to so far?
Oh gosh, quite a few. Yeah, quite a few. I was kind of looking through some pictures and I was like, where is that? I love Utah because I like hiking, so I love Moab. Arizona's a beautiful state. I've been to California. It's
I like
I'm
fresh
just-
fish.
yeah,
Sushi and such.
yeah. I've been to Florida, Washington, D.C., which was probably one of the most interesting places I've ever been. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fascinating place. Working here, every year they have an educator's workshop, and it's someplace different. So that's really, I go, like this year I'm going to go to South Carolina, which I'm looking forward to. I haven't been there.
You need to go to Hilton Head Island.
I've been to Georgia, which I know is somewhat close.
Yeah, well, close to there. It's about 45-minute drive, so like here to Durango.
Yeah,
Well, it depends if it's Savannah, Georgia, yes.
yeah, I've been there.
But it's like Columbia or somewhere else. It's a drive.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember whenever I went to Georgia, that was kind of like, do you want to fly in there? Is it Hilton Head? Yeah. So,
It's nice. I like it.
yeah, Georgia's a beautiful state. Kentucky, of course, it's another beautiful state. But I love New Mexico. To me, this is home, and I can't even imagine living anyplace else. There's so much here. We're so close to so many things. I like boating, and so we go to Lake Powell, which is about 5 hours. So, yeah, well, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Well, you guys take a break. We've already been talking for almost an hour and a half, and then we'll come back and do review and discussion on the chapter. Answer any questions you guys have about the chapter, and then we'll be done. Okay.
What time do you want us back?
Huh?
What time do you want us back?
Oh, take 15 minutes. All right, I think everybody's back. I don't think we need that anymore. There we go. All right, so what do you guys learn in this chapter that you didn't know? A lot of stuff?
Yeah.
Yep. So really, when you think about it, it hasn't been that long since they've been using surgical techs in the operating room. But it kind of started with the wars. They didn't, of course, allow women in battle. So they realized they had a need to have surgical tech, somebody that wasn't a nurse, to help the surgeon. And so that's why they started coming out with, teaching people how to become surgical techs. A lot of times, and there's still people that are out there that were trained on the job to be surgical techs. And still today, people are being trained on the job to be surgical techs, which, I mean, you can learn. And the people that I've worked with that are trained on the job, they're good at what they do. They're very good techs. It's just, there's programs that are developed that take care of handling everything that a person should know as surgical tech going in the door. So really the hospitals need to let that be the way that the surgical techs are trained. It's getting better. It's gotten a lot better. This class that's in Alamogordo, the hospitals in Las Cruces that I visited, quite a few of the surgical techs that work there are trained on the job.
Are they not certified?
They're not certified. It's because they haven't been able to get people. So they actually, Alamogordo, there's a lady that works there at NMSU. She reached out to me to start an online program. And because they have the need there, and I thought that's a great idea. Let's do that. So hopefully at some point, those on the job trained people will be less and less, because people should prove that they know what they're doing. And you don't want somebody working on you or your family member that, has just basically been taken off the street. And they didn't have to go through anatomy classes. They've been taught those things, but not like you guys.
When did they start the program, the online one?
This one that's going on now, we just started it last year.
How long
Yeah.
has the surgical program been at San Juan?
I'm going to say 9 years, 10 years. Yeah. Yeah, the pictures that are on the wall, last year was the first year I actually had to take down, I think, 2 of them. Yeah, and the newest one's not up there yet. Yep, so hopefully this program will continue to go, and I'm really working hard to get Dale on full time, because I want Dale to work on first assistant program for this college, because I feel like, it wouldn't be able to take a whole lot of students, but I feel like it would fill a need for the nation, really. Mm-hmm. Having the option of coming here. And with simulation anymore, they're doing more and more with simulation, that you don't have to use cadavers to do things. And, just the way things are going, they don't want to use cadavers. We don't want to use animals, to do those things. We should be able to just use simulation. We have a simulation lab here, and it's pretty awesome. We haven't used it. Nursing, dental, PTA, OTA, they use it, and respiratory, they'll use it, but they don't do things like we do, so it's kind of hard for us to simulate surgery. They have tables. Dell went to an educators conference last year in Florida, and he was shown a table that they have that does simulation, so it's like a patient's there, and you can do everything, but I think our simulation gal was saying they started like $100,000. So I thought, well, I don't think we can afford one of those. Not just yet. So general surgery, there's specialties of surgeries, and it starts from head and goes to the toe. And so general surgery really, it's a specialty in itself, but it really deals with kind of a little bit of everything. General surgery is my favorite, because that's where they cut people open, and you get to see those things. You get to see the gallbladder, you get to see all the intestines, you get to feel things. Neurosurgery on the head and the back, Dale loved that kind of stuff, but I didn't, because it was long surgeries of looking through a small hole, and I like to see things, and I like to put my hands in things. And those, they have tried to make the incisions for patients, and I understand, smaller and smaller. And so neurosurgery, when they work on the back, they're just making as small as possible incisions. And a lot of times the doctor's working through a microscope. And you don't, For me, it was always too hard to stand there and look through a microscope, so I didn't usually do it. Sometimes they'll put it up on the screen so you can see what's going on, but to me, I like to see things. Orthopedics to me is kind of like carpentry on people. It really is. You get in there, you're using hammers and nails and drills and saws. Yeah. Orthopedics is okay, but it's still not my favorite. Plastic surgery is very interesting because it opens your eyes to see that anything that's wrong with me, I can get it fixed. That I think is wrong with me. You know, if I don't like these wrinkles, hey, guess what? We have surgery for that. Just anything that you can imagine that a person would want done to them cosmetically, that plastic surgery does those things. Plastic surgeons here also work on nerves and so hand stuff. If you tear a tendon, they're really cool. And plastic surgeons are very particular about the way they do things. So if you want a really nice scar and you have carpal tunnel, you want to go to a plastic surgeon because you won't even be able to tell that you had surgery. Orthopedic surgeons also do carpal tunnels, but if you look at two people who've had one done and you see a plastic surgeons and a orthopedic surgeons, you're going to know who did which. Because plastics, I mean, basically, that's kind of like their signature. You shouldn't be able to see the scar. Orthopedics, they don't care. Staples. I always used to give the orthopedic surgeons a hard time and say, if you ever do surgery, you do not put staples in me. Oh yeah, I'm using staples. I don't care. You know, because they don't care about the scar. It's, you know, it's not what they're about. And then we work with optometrists, you know, who do surgery on the eyes. They do a lot of cataracts. To me, it's amazing that anybody is walking out there that has cataracts because every week they have probably about, I would say, 25, 30 patients in there fixing their cataracts. Yeah, they do about 10 to 15 a day, but they only work like once or twice a week doing them. Wow. So yeah, they do tons of them.
And that surgery is fast.
Fast.
It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yep.
And they do those at the hospital?
They do cataracts. They do them at the outpatient surgery center. They do them all there.
So you spend more time prepping than you do at actual surgery?
Yeah, usually for those cases, it's like 30 minutes. The patient comes back, put them on the table. They don't go to sleep. They just relax them, basically. And so they're over there moving their eyes. It can be challenging for the surgeon sometimes. And, you know, they do their procedure, which takes 10, 15 minutes, and then they're out. And so while they're out checking on the next patient, you're in the room setting up the next one. So it's go, go, go. Yeah. And they do like 12 in about 4 or 5 hours. So it's quick.
12? Wow.
Yeah, it's really quick. So they usually just schedule the mornings. And then you got ENT. They do tons of tonsils and they do ears. So they'll put tubes in ears, and they do a lot of that here. What else? Urology, anything to do with bladder, prostate stuff. So they do that. GYN. So anything with ladies' uterus, anything like that, they do that. What else? Nephrology, yeah. Urology, the urologist takes care of nephrology stuff. So the kidneys, yeah, they take care of that. So kidneys and bladder, they do that.
What about dental?
They do some dental procedures. Every now and then they'll have somebody come in that just comes to them that is their whole mouth is just a complete disaster. And so they got to pull all of their teeth. So they can't see doing that patient at their office. So they take them to the operating room and pull all their teeth out there, which usually only got like 5. you know, because that's
Yeah,
how
'cause
bad
that's
they
how
are.
bad it is.
Kids, they do a lot of dental on kids in the operating room at the hospital.
Hmm.
Yeah, so kids who need to have like a lot of fillings put in, caps, they'll do that at the hospital. But yeah, and it's really just because the kid couldn't tolerate it in the office.
I found interesting was the veterinarian.
I did, yeah. That was like, oh yeah, you could work. Wow.
Yeah, and we do have a vet tech program here at Sanborn College, which is pretty popular. It's one of the biggest programs here. So maxillofacial, you know, so if you break any of the bones in your face, the ENT guys usually do that. And that's really interesting too. What else? Brains, face, breasts are usually taken care of. If it's breast biopsies for cancer, general surgeons take care of that. The general surgeons here do vascular surgery. But if you go to bigger cities, they probably have vascular surgeons. And they do a lot of vascular here because of our population has problems with renal failure and things like that. So they have to do things for those patients here. And we have a big population of that. So it's interesting, all the different things. So when you guys start going to clinical, you're going to see all of that. You'll at least be in those rooms probably. You're not going to spend a whole lot of time. The most time you're going to spend is in general, which is fun because you're doing gallbladders, lungs, breasts, anything with the abdomen. If somebody has hemorrhoids, they do those, anything vascular. So yeah, they kind of do a wide variety, and that's what you guys have to get the most of.
So the number compared to your techs working at night in the ER compared to, regular surgical hours.
So in the operating room, they have people that, I don't know right now if they have somebody who actually works all night in the operating room, but what they used to do when I was working there was they have people who are on call. So after a certain time, because they have coverage for sure up to 7 o'clock in the evening.
Right.
So basically from the morning until 7, whoever's on call, if something comes in, they call that person and they come in and do whatever it is, C-sections. If somebody was in a motor vehicle accident, broken bones, spleen, whatever it is. So when you work in a hospital like that, you have to be able and ready to do anything.
Right.
Yeah, because you never know. Yeah. So you take calls. So that's kind of the difference between working in a hospital and working in a surgery center. Hospitals, they do emergency stuff. Surgery centers, it's just Monday through Friday, no holidays, no call.
But the ER is kind of exciting, right?
The ER, well, we see the patients from the ER.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't go to the ER. I was asked to go to the ER to help with trach, to put a trach in a patient there in the ER, but no, because the OR is specifically for a sterile environment. Everything that needs to surgically be done needs to be done there. Like a trach it's not really considered sterile. They can just basically cut a hole and put in the tube. It's urgent, needs to be done right now. Yeah, so they'll take care of minor things like that in the ER, or stitches, somebody falls and cuts their head or
They'll
something.
take care of that. But
Yeah.
if they need anything else, they send out to the OR.
Yeah.
And that's where we.
Yep. Yeah.
Is it union work? Is there like a union for surgical techs?
No. Mm-mm. Nope. So as you guys can imagine, dealing with all these people that come in, we are susceptible to getting these diseases. And that's why, your immunizations are really important. But like I was telling you, you look at the people who come in the OR and you think, oh no, that person looks too innocent to have anything bad. But you really have to treat every patient like they have something. And you have to take care of yourself. Our working conditions, we're on our feet a lot. There are cases where you do sit down. If the surgeon's sitting down, you're sitting down. Like when they're doing vascular access, any extremity, like mainly arms. They'll sit down, you'll sit down. But everything else you're standing. And you probably think, oh, it's no big deal to stand, but it is a big deal to stand for a long time. We had a surgeon, vascular surgeon from Albuquerque, who came down for our New Mexico AST conference that we just had here in July. And he talks about the importance of taking care of your feet and your legs because you are on them so much. I don't know. They're having another AST conference in Albuquerque in September. So if anybody's interested in going, they're really interesting. I think it's $25 and it's usually just one day. They feed you breakfast and lunch. So I'll put that up. So you guys, if you want to go, you can go and you will earn extra credit if you go to that. And it's good because there's students from there that are going to be there.
Usually weekdays, weekends?
It's always on a Saturday. Yeah. And it's just, for the day. So you could go down. I guess you could go in the morning and then come back that evening if you didn't want to spend the night. If you don't want to have your car stolen. It could be stolen anyway. Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to be known for that, but that is. So like Dell was saying, you need to make sure and have good shoes. Another thing is compression stockings, those hose that you think only your grandma wears, you need to start wearing them. And the guys too, because they really save your feet too, not just your legs, but your feet. When I first started working in the OR, I'd get up in the morning and I'd stand up and I'd be like, oh man, my feet are killing me. What the heck? So somebody said, you need to wear some compression stockings. And so I started wearing them. No more pain in my feet. And it really helps. It helps your legs not get tired. You think about standing and you think, like I was saying, no big deal, but it is. Because you're standing kind of in the same spot for a long time. Because surgeries can go 4, 6, 8 hours. And like I told you guys, somebody will come in and give you a break. So you're going to get lunch. But that might be it. And then sometimes you're in a surgery and you just don't want to leave. And so you stay in there and you say, oh, I'll get a break when we're done. You think it can't take much more than another hour, and 2 or 3 hours go by and you're like, wow, I guess I need a break. But yeah, they're good about making sure you have breaks. But it takes its toll on you. It's important for us to be able to work quick and accurate. We've got to pay a lot of attention to detail. And I know, who was it? Ron, were you saying you're OCD? That's a good quality to have as a surgical tech. And if you're not, you will be, just because you want to know every little thing about that case. You want all your things in one place. You want to know where they're at all times. If you turn around to look at your back table to get something, it better be in that same spot you put it. And when you're OCD, you make sure it is. And it's a good thing because you're going to know where it is. Just, you don't even have to look. You just reach back there and you get it. So it's good. And to be really particular about the way you keep things on your Mayo stand. Did Dell show you what that was? Yeah. Because that's where all your stuff is. Sometimes surgeons will try to reach up there and start messing with stuff and just tell them, get your hands off my Mayo stand. Don't touch my stuff up here. Or just move it so they can't reach it. Sometimes it's good for them to be able to do it because you're holding a retractor and trying to pass things at the same time, so it can be tough. You need to be able to have problem-solving skills. When something's not working in that OR, they're going to look at you like, okay, what do we need to do? And they just think, oh, they know how to run all this equipment in this room, I guess. But it's good to really get familiar with everything in that operating room, and you'll be amazed at how much stuff there really is. There is a lot of stuff. Since I've been working here at the college and I go and check on students, there's things that have completely changed. I go in there and I'm like, what is this? Because I don't know anymore. If I went back and worked at the hospital, I would have to be trained again because there's so much new things that have come out since I left. And it's always that way. They're always training you on new equipment, new and better instruments that come out. They have reps that come and show not only you, but they're also showing the surgeon, because the surgeon will go to a class and learn how to use this new gadget that is so cool. But they go and that's it. And so when they first start using it, that rep will go and show them. They'll remind them, oh yeah, remember you have to do this. And so they'll help them, and they help you too, which is nice to have them. Some important people in history. You guys know of a couple?
Aristotle.
Yep. Who's the one who developed antiseptic surgery? Lister. Yeah. Do you guys remember learning about Lister and micro? Yeah. Listerine. Yeah.
Yeah, he was an important guy.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times, if you look at some of these names, you guys are going to realize that some of the instruments were named after some of these people, like Halsted. Billroth is a procedure. Cushing is an instrument. A Cooley and a DeBakey, those are also instruments. So some of these people came up with the ideas of, we got to be able to hold this thing. And they thought of how to make that instrument. And so they named those instruments after them. Let's see. Some surgical techs have been trained in the military, and I often wonder how that training is. I'm sure it's probably pretty intense because they're taking care of all the people that are out in the field that are getting hurt. So they get to see trauma all the time. So it would be interesting to see their education. One of the really important things about this program and being a surgical tech is our accreditation. So you guys understand the difference between ARC and AST and NBS TSA. Do you guys know what the difference is? And KHEP.
Those were confusing, I think, for me, because I was like, how to read this?
So AST, it's not there. AST is our association, okay? It's our association for surgical technologists. And then for every state, we have our state branch, basically. Like I was saying, New Mexico State will be having a meeting in Albuquerque. So Colorado has theirs, and all the other states have their meetings. So AST is our professional organization. ARC is Accreditation Review Committee in Education and Surgical Technology. So anytime I want to make a change to the program, they basically have set the standards for what a person needs to go through to become an accredited program. And so if I make a change to the program and I say, I don't think we need this class anymore, I need to submit it to ARC, and they need to review it and make sure that the students aren't going to be missing out on something that's important in their education. And then KHEP is basically, it's our accrediting agency. ARC works for KHEP. KHEP gives us that title of being accredited. NBS TSA, they're the ones who administer your certification exam. That's National Board of Surgical Technology and Surgical Assisting. So they also do a exam for surgical assistants.
What was that again?
NBS TSA.
Okay.
When I first went into surgical, to become a surgical tech, it was LCC, but that changed. And now it's that NBST. So if you see LCC, it's now this NBS TSA.
Is that in 1974?
In 2006. Oh, and 74 is when that LCC came up. And then in 2006, they changed it to the NBSTSA. And that's, I'm looking on the little chart there on page 6. So ARC is the review committee basically that looks at everything and makes sure that the programs are following basically guidelines, okay, to be accredited. You guys know the 3 phases of surgical case management?
Yes.
So pre-op, that's before the operation, right? So the patient goes to pre-op and they put their hats on them and they'll put an IV in them and make sure that that patient knows what kind of surgery they're going to have. They sign it and
Make sure it's the right patient.
right patient, yep. So, and then intra-op is what?
Actual
During,
surgical,
right.
surgical
And then
procedures.
post-op.
After.
So after post-op, the patient goes to PACU, okay? That's after post-anesthesia care unit. That's what PACU is. So it's after anesthesia. And you guys understand the difference between the sterile and the non-sterile members of the team? So circulator is always going to be non-sterile, right? Unless they scrub in and then they become sterile. And then anesthesia is going to be unsterile because they got to take care of things on the patient that require them to touch their face and their mouth and their arms. And they're not scrubbed into the case. They're over there behind the curtain playing video games and making sure they keep the patient alive, which is pretty important. So non-sterile team members will, like the circulator, will, they're going to take care of the patient's record, their operative record. So they got to write everything in there. They have to write how the patient was prepped, where they were prepped, what kind of prep they were, what was used, how they're positioned, anything that was used to position them. And then they actually talk about the surgical procedure, but that, I mean, every single thing that's done to that patient is charted. One thing that I'm not really sure that I agree with is assisting with draping the patient. The people who drape the patient are sterile. The drapes are sterile. And so I don't think, I'm not really sure what they're trying to say by that, but they don't really help drape the patient. The circulator is usually going to go with anesthesia to take the patient to PACU. Okay. It talks a little bit about education and certification and why it's important, really. You guys are proving that you know what you're doing as an entry-level surgical tech. I always tell students, when you guys finish this program is when you really begin, because you know you're just learning now, and when you actually start working, that's when you really learn what a surgical tech does, because it's all on you. Somebody's going to always be there with you when you first start. No matter where you go, you're going to always have somebody that's in with you when you first start. So it's not like they're just going to throw you in and say, do it. No, they won't. A surgical technologist is a professional. So we need to be conscientious about what we're doing. We need to be willing and able to take constructive criticism and suggestions. Something that's really important is sometimes people are proud. You know, they'll say, I know how to set this up and I know how to gown and glove, because by the time you guys go to clinical, you're going to have done it 1,000 times. But if somebody ever tells you you contaminated, you just say, okay. It doesn't matter if you're like, I know I didn't. Just, it's okay, because you're responsible for that patient. They're responsible for that patient. So if if anybody ever says that to you, just, okay, that's fine. Even if in your head you're like, I know I didn't, they're crazy. You just go with it. Continuing education is important, and it's necessary to continue your certification. Remember I was telling you guys you do CEUs. I think you have to have 60 every 4 years. 60 continuing education units. AST, in every magazine that you'll get, it's got like a little test, and you can do those if you want to, but going to conferences, you get CEUs from those. So there's different ways, and then the hospital or where you work will sometimes provide different educational opportunities for you to get those continuing ed credits. Because like I was saying, in this field, we never stop learning, because there's always new instruments, there's always new stuff coming out that we need to learn. Oh, your lifestyle. If you decide to work in a hospital where you take call, you're going to be leaving your family at inconvenient times. So at 2 o'clock in the morning or whenever that phone rings and they need you, you go. Usually you need to live within like 20 minutes of the hospital that you're working at, because they have a time that they expect you to be there. So you just basically get up and throw your clothes on and go. You need to make sure that you're protecting yourself against any kind of diseases, not only at work, but off of work too. And one thing about our jobs is that what we do in the operating room stays in the operating room. So, you see your aunt or your neighbor in the operating room having surgery, whatever it is they're having, boob job, whatever. If you run into them, you don't even mention it. If they tell you, oh, I remember, yeah, my surgery went great, then that's fine. They brought it up, but you don't bring it up. You just act like you never seen them. If it's a family member, they usually won't have you in that room with them, because, if it was your mom or a relative, you might get too involved, emotionally involved. So they try not to put you in rooms with family members. So, sometimes it's kind of hard because you go home and you're excited about, oh man, you're not going to believe what I did today, and it's okay to talk about things in general, but you never give specifics. And usually family looks at you like, are you crazy? Because you're talking about, oh, that was so cool. This thing came out and it was like all infected, and they're like, wow. Yeah, they don't really quite get it,
Not
like you guys.
Not dinner table conversation.
No. I know. I don't have no problem talking about weird stuff like that at the dinner table, but my family looks at me like, what? Yeah. You're going to see things that are crazy. People do crazy things. If you ever watched, there's that program that comes on TV about people that go to the ER. A lot of times people put things where they don't belong, and so they have to go to usually they wait until they can't stand it anymore, and then they go to the emergency room, and then they end up in the operating room, and they're trying to take out a toothbrush or a car or a Barbie doll or you name it. Yeah, and that could be somebody It could be somebody famous. So you just can't talk about it. You just don't talk about it with your people that you work with that are there in the operating room with you. You guys can all have a good laugh about it afterwards. Let's see here. So surgical techs, we can work in the operating room at a hospital. We can work at a surgery center. We could work for a physician. There's some of the students that have gone through this program who have chosen to just work for a physician in their office. Usually they don't go to the operating room with that surgeon or physician. you could work in a veterinary hospital if you wanted to. You could travel. They do have travel techs, and travel techs make a lot of money. They make good money. But you know, you're only at a place for usually like 3 months and then off to the next place. But if you want to see the country, that's a good way to do it, because you just go, and if you don't like that place, then in 3 months your time's up and you can go someplace else. So they have like job search people who basically take care of finding jobs for surgical techs who want to do that.
They help you find places to live.
Usually the hospital is pretty good about that. They usually have something, and they do. Hospitals usually are going to pay you so much for your housing. So, I mean, it's a good way to go. I have a friend that's a nurse, and she's been traveling as long as I've known her. And she bought like a motor home, and so she'll take it, you know, wherever, just because it's easier. She's always going someplace new. Yeah, and then she gets all that money for, you know, an apartment that she doesn't have to spend. Yeah. Some people will choose to specialize, you know, in a certain area. Really around here, they have all the surgical techs doing everything because of call. You know, because if they call you in, you need to be able to do whatever. If all you know is how to do orthopedics, you're not going to know how to do a C-section or a gallbladder. So here it's that way, but some big hospitals, they might have like, okay, you're on the orthopedic team or you're on the heart team. So between you and probably a few other techs, you guys rotate call, but not here. So that's another option too. If there's something you really, really like and you want to do that, you probably have to go to a bigger hospital where they do that. Communication skills are pretty important. Remember I was telling you how we communicate. A lot of times people will just look at us and right away that's their first impression of us. If we're quiet, they might think we're not interested. If you're standing like this, you know, you're cold. So, and I tend to stand like that a lot, and I have to think about it. Oh, I better quit that, you know, so just different ways of communicating. Really with our patients, we don't see them very often before they come to the operating room. At the surgery center here, sometimes they would have you go out and introduce yourself, but a lot of times you're too busy. You're getting the room ready, because when that patient comes in, your case should be ready to start. So the patient doesn't even remember you. They don't even know you're in the room. My mom had cataract surgery, and she was telling me about it, and she's like, yeah, there was the doctor and there was the nurse and anesthesia, and that was it. And I said, there was a surgical tech in there too. Nuh-uh. I said, yes, there was. I said, there's somebody that hands the things to the surgeon that does my job. No, I never seen anybody else. It was just us. So yeah, she didn't know, because by the time they go back, they've already sedated them a little bit. And so people completely, they don't know. People say goofy things when they're under anesthesia. Yeah. Sometimes the younger ones, they go in for tonsils, you know, for a tonsillectomy. Those are the ones that crack you up. I think one time a girl was telling me that she smoked weed. It's like, hopefully you're not going to say anything after you leave the operating room. But I'm sure she didn't remember me at all. She didn't remember saying anything like that. So, you know, the communication with patients is it's limited. But if the patient ever asks you something, just be truthful with them. And if you don't know or don't feel comfortable answering, just say the surgeon will talk to you about that, or, you know, something like that, or the nurse. So there's different relationships that we have with the people that we work with, like any other job. We're going to have social relationships with our friends and peers. And then there's a professional relationship that we have with people we work with. Surgeons, they spend a lot of time with the surgical tech. You know, a lot of times they spend more time with us than they do with their own family. You still try to keep that professional relationship with them. You know, you'll talk about things and you'll see it, you know, that people will ask about their kids or just different things, but it's just people just talking. Therapeutic is patient and the patient's family. So basically just talking, and we don't really have that big of that relationship. More the nurse that is talking to them about how things are going or what to expect, or the surgeon, of course. AST position statement on teamwork. So the AST recognizes the importance of a collaborative teamwork environment. The primary focus of all surgical team members is to provide a seamless, safe, and efficient surgical experience with a positive patient outcome. That's really that's our focus, and that should be our team focus. We need to be have professional honesty, patient confidentiality. You guys are going to hear patient confidentiality so many times. Every facility that you go to will have you sign a form stating that you will keep everything that you see in confidence. We treat patients without discrimination. So people come in the OR and, you know, we might not like what they've done. They might have been a drunk driver that caused somebody else, you know, some injuries, but we don't care what they did. We treat them just like we would anybody else. It doesn't matter what their background is. They could be a murderer, but we still, you know, and there are patients that come in handcuffs and everything else, and we still just treat them like a patient. Yeah. You guys ready for another break before we finish? Good. You guys are okay? Okay. Before I go too much further in this, I'm going to ask you guys on the review what kind of questions you have. If you go through this review and are able to answer these questions, then you're going to do great on the test tomorrow.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
On one of the questions, it says, what term describes the relationship between the certified surgical technologist and the other members of the surgical? Sorry. Yeah, I'll actually 12 and 13. I was a little bit confused about.
So that one that I just kind of went over on page 16, it talks about our relationship is professional. So really with the people that we're working with, that's a professional relationship. And then the one with the patient and the family is therapeutic.
Okay.
Okay.
On one question, it says, what service does biomedical engineering provide? There's really nothing on chapter 1. All I really saw was like, they're just allied health support personnel in the OR.
What question is that?
24. Yeah, the only time I read or I found something that said there was like a bioelectrical technician, but that was on page 21. But all it really said was that they're represented to several different allied health professions in the OR, and just allied health support personnel in the OR.
So on page 23, about halfway down that list there is maintenance and biomed. So basically biomed is they take care of equipment. They'll do the safety checks on it and basically maintain all the equipment that's in the operating room. That's what their job is.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Page 23.
Yeah, page 23 in that table. It's about A little bit further than half.
Yeah, I did some fun on that.
Any other questions?
And there was also a quiz on the modules where it says chapter 1 tests that will help us prepare as well.
Okay. No other questions on the review?
No, on the, when you click on the modules and it says chapter 1 test.
Mm-hmm.
When you click on it, it says quiz.
Oh, okay.
And so will that will also help us review as well?
Yeah, that'll help. And that you're saying that's in MindTap.
That, it's actually on modules on Canvas. And when it says chapter 1 test,
Yeah.
and on the, it says quiz. And there's like 47 questions. It says.
Let me look.
Is that what we're gonna do?
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's the one we're doing tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't have to do that
No, tomorrow.
then. Okay.
Yeah, the chapter 1 test, 62 points. And so on the test, there's multiple choice, true, false, and I forgot matching. Because I was looking at it and I think one of you asked me, what else? Matching.
Does it follow that review pretty close?
Yeah, I kind of looked at the, let me find it real quick. The questions. So I'll just kind of go through them real quick with you, and I'm sure you guys will be fine with these. So a resume, if you could describe what that is, right? Surgical assistant, you know the difference between a surgical tech and a surgical assistant. Job description. So know what a job description is versus the role, okay? Your job role. Organizational structure. So I know there's a chart that talks about like the services, the directors, and the trustees, how that is basically the clinical ladder, I guess you would call it. That's kind of what that's referring to. And then there's career ladder, which is what you would need to do in an organization to, you're going to increase your responsibilities. Okay. Allied health. Feedback. Intraoperative case management and problem solving skills. So one of the true false questions is the ARC STSA administers the National Certification Exam for Surgical Technologists and owns the CST and CSFA credentials. False. Who does that?
DNB,
There you go. Yeah.
DNBST.
Yeah. The national board. So remember that national boards, you know, you got to go take your boards. That's what that is. You know what AST's mission statement is? So if a hospital is not for profit, wait, no, okay, so what's the difference between nonprofit and proprietary?
Proprietary is profit.
It is. So who usually owns those?
Private.
Private, yeah, individuals, usually surgeons own those. That's what the surgery center, it's part of owner proprietary, and then the other part is hospital owned. So it's half and half. So what's, if a person has a DO behind their names, what are they? Yep. How about DRG? What is that? Did you guys find that? It's a diagnosis related group. So it says healthcare on page 22. Fourth paragraph under financial considerations and reimbursement. So it's basically providers are paid from a prospective payment system. Okay, so basically they've got an arrangement made that no matter who comes in for this test, this is how much they're going to pay for that test. How about number 26? I think if you see the list, you would know which one is not, but federal government, okay, is Medicare and Medicaid. What other federal government can you think of that would not be? You should know this.
Military.
Yep. You know what it's called?
TRICARE?
TRICARE or Champus? Is it still Champus? Or is that
I think
Army?
it was TRICARE.
TRICARE, yeah. So military is one of the federal governments that doesn't fall under that category, that's CMS. What's our membership? And who does ARC, who do they have to report to? KHEP, yeah. Commission on Accreditation of Allied Health Education Programs. That's what KHEP is.
What is it?
Commission on Accreditation of Allied Health Education Programs. It's on page 24. What membership do RNs belong to?
81?
Yep.
Did you say RNs? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you guys get the organization that Central Sterile Processing are members of? That's a long one. That's on page 25. It's on the right-hand column. Let's see that third bullet down. ISHM, which is International Association of Healthcare Central Service Materials Management. And you guys should know who workplace safety is. OSHA, right? So if a medical device fails during surgery, who needs to be notified? FDA.
Say that again?
If a medical device or a piece of equipment fails or it causes patient injury, the FDA needs to be notified. That's also on page 25, FDA. medical devices and cosmetics, it says. So anything that they have a problem with, the FDA needs to know about it. So what kind of surgeon does breast surgery?
General.
Yeah. Okay. You guys kind of understand about financial reimbursement and how that works. Basically, I mean, we have insurance, right?
No.
And hospitals and surgeons all basically will have contracts with different insurance. And so they submit those claims and they pay them what they've agreed to pay them. When I worked in that neurosurgeon's office, I did billing, and so for like a brain surgery, it would be $50,000 maybe, and Medicare or Medicaid will only pay like $2,000. It was ridiculous, but that's their agreed upon terms, and so that's what they paid. Yeah, it's terrible. So a lot of times people think, oh, a lot of money, but not necessarily. So that's why like Medicare and Medicaid patients have a hard time getting into to get into a provider. It's because they can only allow so many of those patients. Otherwise, they would go broke because the state really only pays a very small amount of that bill, and the rest they just have to write off. And that's why they do that. I think I pretty much went over most of the stuff in here. If you guys have questions about anything.
But that review is a good place to.
Oh yeah, if you do that review, just go through the chapter. Sometimes some of the stuff is kind of hard to find, but if you go through the chapter really well, and then of course your MindTap stuff, you should be able to answer all those questions. Okay. How do you guys feel about it? Okay? CDC, hospitals infection control, would report any suspicion of rare or mysterious infections. And that's also on 25.
Were 30 and 32 the same answer to IAHC have sent him?
30 and 31?
30 and 32.
No. So 30, the CST and the CSFA credentials are registered trademarks of what organization? Remember who gives that exam?
I was not thinking. I read that wrong.
Oh, that's okay. Mm-hmm. Did you find the CDC?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, like hantavirus or anything like that, that's who CDC is, the ones who pretty much put out that information about it. I know somebody just locally just died of, what was it?
West Nile.
West Nile, yeah. All right, any other questions? If you guys think of something, you can email me or text me or whatever, just let me know. All right, you guys are good to go. It's only 2:30, about 20 till 3, so give you some time to make sure and do the review, okay? If you do it, know it. Don't just go through and write the thing. Understand the difference between AST, NBS, TSA, KHEP, ARC, okay? Those are things that are important to you guys to know, all right? So tomorrow we'll meet here and then if we're not in the classroom when you get here, we'll be in the computer lab, okay? And we'll just do that test. And like I said, the first 6 to finish, we'll go to lab with Dale, and the other 6 will be in here, and we're gonna do some stuff in here. And then he might switch off. I think he probably will. You guys will probably do some more of the same like you did yesterday. More gowning and gloving and scrubbing. We're going to work on some instruments in here.
We're not learning one today.
No instrument today. I think Dale's going to make sure you guys learn an instrument each day. What was that one that I showed you? This one. See, look, that's good.
And then we also saw the mosquito.
Mosquitoes?
I got the mosquito and the staff. We were good at training.
Yeah. Good. We'll see you all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
We got up just in time, ran out of coffee.
Ran out of coffee.
We could have taken a coffee break.
Oh, I like it, but I have to make it my own. Otherwise,
Oh.
it's like too sweet or it's not strong enough. And I like the Colombian roast, and I'm like very
Thanks.
picky.
I'm pretty picky too. I like to Rainbow Joe's coffee.
Yes, because it's actual coffee. It's
Yeah.
not sugar at Starbucks.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
It doesn't cost $7 a cup.
No, it only costs $4.25.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
It is. You too.
Later.
All right, we'll see you. Ron, I'm gonna have to get used to calling you Ron.
Okay. We'll get used to it.
I'll get used to it.